Need an extra hand? Or dreaming of going hands-free? Yes, you can, even with twins. Moms and dads everywhere have discovered the convenience and ease of baby wearing their twins and enjoy the closeness it provides. Today, our expert panel is here to share how they did baby wearing with their twosome. This is Twin Talks.
The ultrasound shows your babies to be healthy.
What? Did you say babies? You're huge. Are you having twins?
Are they natural?
Which one do you like better?
Twins, huh? My neighbor's cousin's brother's uncle's a twin.
So can they read each other's minds?
How do you tell them apart?
Twins? You got a 2-for-1.
Do twins run in your family?
Double trouble. You're not having any more, are you?
At least you're not Octomom.
If you're pregnant with twins or you're an experienced twin parent, odds are you've heard it all before. Now it's time to hear from the experts. This is Twin Talks, Parenting Times 2. Welcome to Twin Talks, broadcasting from the Birth Education Center of San Diego. Twin Talks is your weekly online, on-the-go support group for expecting and new parents of twins. I'm your host, Christine Stewart Fitzgerald. Now, have you heard about the Twin Talks Club? Our members get bonus content after each new show, plus special giveaways and discounts. You can subscribe to our monthly Twin Talks newsletter and learn about the latest episodes available. And another way for you to stay connected is by downloading our free app, the Twin Talks app, available for Android, iPhone, and Windows mobile devices. Well, first of all, let's get started, and we'll introduce our panel guests here in the studio.
I'm Julia Wickman. I'm 31. I am a elementary school teacher, and I have boy-girl twins. They're 14 months old, Marcel and Claire.
All right.
I'm Shelly Steely. I'm a high school history teacher, and I'm also the producer here at Twin Talks. I have identical twin boys, Grayson and Sawyer, who will be 2 next month, and I'm 28 weeks with a singleton, a girl. Before we get started, I wanted to tell you about our virtual panelist program. So you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also join in the conversation from home by using the hashtag TwinTalksVP. So if you want to stay connected when you're not in the studio, check us out online.
All right, and I'm your host, Christine Stewart Fitzgerald, and I've got identical girls that are going on 5, and I also have a singleton girl who is 19 months and thinks she's 5. Here's a question from our listener, Jennifer in Portland, Maine. I know that folic acid is a big deal in pregnancy. What kinds of foods can I eat to make sure I get enough for my twins?
Hello, I'm Lindsay Senebeck, a registered dietitian nutritionist in San Diego, California, and owner of nutritioninstincts.com. Folic acid is incredibly important during pregnancy due to its role in DNA synthesis and cell division. Before I answer your question, I think it's worth mentioning that a woman actually needs to consume adequate folate prior to conception so that enough folate is available during the first 5 weeks or so of pregnancy when the baby's nervous system is developing and the cells are replicating rapidly. Luckily, in the United States, grains like pasta and bread are fortified with folate, so this is helpful in meeting your needs both prior and throughout pregnancy. And then to continue meeting your needs during pregnancy, you can get folate from a variety of sources. Lentils are actually one of the best natural sources. 1 cup provides over 300 micrograms, which meets over half of the required 600 micrograms per day that you'll need during your pregnancy. Other great natural sources of folate include lentils, sunflower seeds, peanuts, asparagus, spinach, corn, kiwi, and orange juice. I also recommend taking a prenatal vitamin throughout your pregnancy just as a backup. Thanks.
So let's get started. So we have Julia and Shelly in the studio today, and today's topic is baby wearing twins. And we're talking with our expert panelists who've successfully done baby wearing with their twins. So thanks for joining us. Well, what are the advantages of baby wearing? I mean, I know that I see this big resurgence of, wearing kids, for singletons, it's pretty common. But when we think about doing 2, sometimes people go, oh my gosh, can you really, baby wear 2 at a time? So, but what are the advantages of baby wearing twins?
Well, for me, I don't think I'd ever leave the house a lot of the times because I have my big double stroller, and somebody invites me somewhere and I'm like, I can't get around with that. I can't do that. I can't go there. And I am always thinking about what won't work. That's just kind of my personality. I'm looking at all the pitfalls. So when I'm wearing them, I can go through large crowds. I can go into restaurants. Usually I just strap one to my back, carry the other one in, and we get in high chairs and we have no problem. We don't have all this luggage to fold up and carry everywhere. So it just makes my life more livable.
So you can go and you're not carrying, you don't have a stroller with you. So
often. I mean, I do sometimes have a stroller with me. If it's a long day, I carry a stroller and I put their diaper bag and lunch and whatever else I want, my purse with me. But for most days, if I'm going grocery shopping, it gets us in and out of the parking lot. If I'm going out to eat, if I'm going shopping, if I'm going to the wild animal park, I prefer to have my carriers. And if I have my husband with me and we both have our carriers, then it's so easy. That's
so easy. Just to get out. I think mobility is a big thing, because I know sometimes, strollers are great, especially if you're doing like a long, all day thing. But sometimes if you're just going in and out and, and you want to have that extra mobility, like grocery shopping.
Yeah. Or in the beginning, before I really discovered this, I'd talk myself out of going places because I'd be like, then I have to get the stroller out of the garage, and then I have to fold it up, and then I have to put it in the trunk, and then I have to unfold it and put them in. And all I really wanted to get was eggs. So it's probably not worth it. So I'd talk myself out of going to places because I felt so overwhelmed being a first-time mom with twins. That it made it so much easier just to do what everybody else is doing with their one baby.
Right.
I totally agree. Yeah, for us, my husband and I work opposite schedules. So when we are both home, we love to get out and do stuff. We're lucky here in San Diego. There's the zoo, there's amusement parks, there's walks, there's the beach. There's so many things to do. Street fairs, farmers markets, and there's not a lot of room for a giant double stroller all those places, nor do you want to deal with, like you said, get the stroller out, unfold the stroller, strap two not happy about being in the stroller kids into the stroller, hope that they want to stay, and so for us, sure, on long day trips we'd still bring the stroller, but how great is it to have the option of, most people, you've seen them, like at the zoo is a perfect example. How many parents have you seen with a baby on one hip pushing an empty stroller, right? I mean, the kids are going to want to be up anyways, so why not hold them up and still be kind of hands-free? Getting places was important, too. Stairs are a twin mom's worst enemy. I mean, I'll just say that right off the bat, because you have to get two kids up the stairs somehow, and so even just visiting a friend's house, or my brother, he has stairs to get to his house. So how great is it to be able to just one baby on your back, hold the other baby or wear the other baby, and you can get up the stairs versus, standing at the bottom with your stroller calling somebody. Yeah. Can you come down and get us? And, grocery shopping too. I mean, Target and other big stores have the double carts once your kids are big enough to sit in them sometimes. But they're not always easy to find. And then it's almost like if you're not willing to wear a baby, how are you even going to buy your groceries? So it's really, crazy. Just about convenience, keeping an active lifestyle, being able to know, okay, I can just go somewhere with my baby.
Yeah. Now I also think that besides the getting out aspect, what I found is when they were really young and being at home, there's like that whole soothing factor. We've got the bouncy chairs, the vibration chairs, and everything else. And sometimes, you can plop them down, but then they're not, always happy, and they want that closeness
now, mine aren't infants; they're budding toddlers. But even now, they just want to be held sometimes, and people notice.
And you have two arms.
Yeah, well, and they get tired.
yeah, exactly.
And people tell me that that aren't super excited about my baby wearing. They're like, "Well, you have two arms," and it's like, try all day.
Try carrying. No, try carrying.
Try carrying.
Yeah. And then you've got laundry. Yeah, laundry and dishes and everything else you got to do.
Yeah, just putting. Usually, they can go from tantrum to just hanging out on my back. They just sit there, and then I'll Usually, luckily, they're not both having a tantrum at the same time. Usually. So usually you can kind of just soothe that one kid, and it kind of gives them that comfort. It's almost like swaddling.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I found, when I, wore my girls that, there really was this almost instant calming effect of just being, skin on skin and really, close and having, the scent and, especially when they were breastfeeding. Even if they weren't nursing on me, I just felt like I knew that could, get them to a point where they're relaxed, and then maybe at that point then I might put them down to sleep, something like that. So I found that to be such a great lifesaver,
and it gave them that one-on-one time that I'm always worrying, being a twin parent, that you're all constantly splitting your attention, but sometimes they just need that extra time with mom, so that just being up there, they're happy, and the other one might be playing or doing something else, but you can just wear and get what you need done.
Now, speaking of one-on-one time, okay, and this is for twin moms, this is kind of the big question. So you did tandem baby wearing, and you did the one-on-one. So how did you work that out? And were there special situations where you said, hey, this works for two?
So I always have two carriers with me because I never know when I'm going to need that second one. And it's actually at the point where we started with my husband had a carrier and I had a carrier, and I'd use both. But I use soft structured carriers, and they have to be adjusted to your body. Mm-hmm. So I really hated when we were having a meltdown, and then I'd be trying to put my husband, and he's a big 6'3" guy.
Oh, yes.
And I'm frantically trying, while they're both upset. So I finally got my own two that fit me. So I bring them everywhere. And then it calls for the situation. Usually if we're grocery shopping, I like having my front space open to pick heavy things up or to reach into the cart. So I wear one on the back and put one in the shopping basket. Mm-hmm. But if I was at the wild animal park, and for the most part I just wore one and let one kind of toddle around, and we trade off. But we went into exhibits where you couldn't let them run around, and they'd be grabbing things, and they're still at the put everything in my mouth stage. Mm-hmm. So we went into the lorikeet exhibit where you get to hold the nectar, and they get to come down and land on you and eat the nectar. So there, I already had one on my back, and I grabbed the other one and put them up, and then we were able to walk around and see the birds, and everyone was happy, and it was like being able to just carry one, but I could also hold the nectar and everything else and be ready to go.
And I was curious now, when it comes to the tandem, did you just jump in and say, yes, I'm going to do it? Or,
no,
what brought you to say, hey, I can do this thing?
I spent, I had friends, there's the common carriers that you see the most. And I had friends who had those. And I was like, when I first had them, I was like, oh, you're so lucky that you get to do that. I thought that just wasn't something I got to do. And I had a friend who is very into baby wearing and has pretty much every type of carrier and the whole deal, and she let me borrow some, and she had me join some groups. And then I started seeing all these people, not only with twins but with kids close in age, that they also need this to be able to get around and do things.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the different types of baby carriers and what are the advantages to each of them. Well, welcome back, and we're here with our expert panelists and talking about baby carriers, and we're looking at the different types of baby carriers available and what are the different advantages for each type. So the first one, we've got wraps. I think that's a pretty common carrier.
I think everybody's heard of the stretchy wrap. There's a couple different popular brands, but it's a real stretchy jersey knit fabric. I personally didn't have much luck with it because it's hot. I mean, that stretchy fabric
fabric is
it's really, really hot. And boys born in July in San Diego, and I swear my body temperature still runs 10 degrees hotter than it ever did before. So it was every time I just tried, it was sweating. So I wish I had known about the woven wraps, the non-stretchy ones, because those are definitely cooler and more comfortable, but with a little bit of a higher learning curve. So stretchy and woven wraps are nice because you can wear, like you mentioned, two smaller babies on the front. So it's a good at-home option for newer ones. And we were able to use them a couple times for just one baby. But I have a friend who she wore her stretchy wrap with her twins in it until they maxed out the weight limit of the wrap. So tandem wore the whole time, and that's a good option for some people.
And she put both of them in one single
wrap
Okay.
on the front until they hit the weight limit of the wrap. And I think it's like 35 pounds. So once her girls were about 16, 17 pounds each. But I think a wrap is something that you definitely would want to have somebody come help you with, because I just know that if someone had shown me how to do it and I had developed a comfort level with it, being a brand new mom and overwhelmed with 2 babies, I really needed another set of eyes. Sometimes you think, oh, well, I'll ask someone in my twin group. Well, no one else does it. But my experience with people who are baby wearing experts, if you will, or leaders, is they want to help everybody, whether they have 0 kids or 12. So just recently I've started looking into it for my next baby, and I wish I had taken advantage of the resources earlier, because I just put out a post saying, I'm looking to buy a carrier, someone help me out. And a woman came over to my house and sat there with, left her kids with her husband and sat down and said, let me show you different options. So I think it's a really, really friendly community. So wraps seem scary. I will say that they have a high learning curve, but they can be a great option for small babies.
And they're very versatile.
Yeah, really versatile.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think everyone should consider them, because one wrap can go a lot of different ways, and don't be scared that it's hard, because wherever you live, somebody will either walk
knows
you through
how to
it
do
or
them.
come,
Yeah.
And there's a YouTube video for everything too, even if you're in a very remote location.
And wraps have been, one of the standard, for thousands of years, and so many different culture, different variations of doing wraps.
The stretchy ones are the most popular and branded, and they're available in the stores, but they're really not always the best option for everybody. So I would say something I wish I had done, something I recommend twin moms do, is go a little bit outside your comfort level. Try a woven wrap instead of a stretchy one, because I don't know anyone who's ever regretted that decision.
Yeah, but the stretchy wraps are almost kind of like the gateway into baby wearing. What happens a lot is because you can get them for such a cheap price that people do it and they go, oh, wow, like this is so much easier.
Right.
So that's a lot of people that I've met that was like, oh, well, I got this. And then I started researching it more because it was helping. Because, they were hands-free and they could research it.
Yes. We started out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what happens a lot. And also people can make their own woven wraps. It's just fabric. So if you have basic sewing skills, because a lot of time cost is what stands in people's way. But if you go and Google it, there are ways to make your own wraps. You just have to make sure it's reinforced and look at the fabric quality.
That's a great idea.
And look outside. Social networking is great for buy, sell, trade. Buy a used one from somebody or borrow one from your local baby wearing group. No cost investment. Somebody will loan you one. Here we have a lending library that you can actually pay to be part of, and you can check out any carrier in their library. So for somebody who's a little bit intimidated by a wrap and might kind of balk at, I'm not spending $170 for something that looks like my tablecloth. You don't have to. Borrow one, find a less expensive one, ask somebody, tell them, this is my budget, what can you help me find? And there's wraps available for every budget if you're just willing to spend a little time in looking. And again, we know twin moms are short on time, but it's something you can do before you even have the babies here, and definitely use your resources to find a good.
That's a great point. And in addition to wraps, how about ring slings?
Ring slings are really nice. They were really nice when they were little because you just plop them in, you pull them out. It's one of those great, if all you're doing is getting from the car to the house or getting from, you don't have to deal with figuring out how to tie it all off. You don't have to buckle everything in. You kind of just wear it. I almost felt like it was a pretty extension, like, ooh, it's like a scarf. And they were really easy to breastfeed in. I could kind of, if you were concerned about modesty at all, which in the beginning I was, now I'm just over it. I could pull it up and have a little more privacy, or when they were going through the distracted phase, or there's kind of a tail from, the extra fabric that goes through the rings, you can kind of just pull that back over you.
And a ring sling it's kind of like a wrap,
it's
right?
It's basically a wrap that's been sewn into a ring, and it has those two loops that you tie
there's
through.
Two rings, and you loop it through the rings.
It's how so many belts and backpacks work, and then you tighten it, so you put it on, you put your baby in, you make sure they have a good seat, and then you tighten it, and then they kind of just hang, and it's kind of it's the most that if you naturally just kind of let your child sit on your hip, that's how I wear them anyway. There's lots of ways to wear them, and I haven't tried them all. But for me, it's like they're kind of already sitting there, and they just hang out. And I know twin moms who do wear 2 ring slings and do one on each hip. I only had 1 ring sling ever, so I never really tried that. But I also know other tandem wearers who wear usually the smaller one in the ring sling on the front, and then wear a soft structured carrier on the back, and they can put the ring sling on, and then it's really easy to pop the front kid in and out. So that's really nice.
So it's easier than a wrap.
It's easier than a wrap. Yes. You can't do, it's not as versatile as a wrap, but it's a great, like, have in your car and just, in, out. It doesn't take a lot of adjusting. It fits compactly everywhere.
I wish I had done a little bit more research, because now I heard sling and I was thinking of those like old school baby slings where the baby kind of lays in them, and they're not really good for the airways, and they're not really, they're not the safest thing. And especially, small babies. I mean, the first time we tried to put Sawyer in a Moby wrap, he like tucked his chin right under and terrified all of us, so I was a little paranoid about how will I ever figure out a ring sling and how will I get my baby safe in this thing, and so I didn't look into it. But I have one ordered for this next baby, and so a woman came over to my house to kind of show me how to use it. And now I haven't worn my boys in months because they outgrew the carriers we had, and they're independent. They were independent, so we didn't think twice about it. But they're in the super clingy phase, and so I was trying to figure out how to put this ring sling on, and I picked up my Sawyer. He's a little bit clingier right now. He's got a case of the mommies, we call it. And at 27 and a half pounds, I just put him in the ring sling, we tightened it up, and he just snuggled right in, and I was like, oh my gosh, here I am, 7 months pregnant, and it feels like I'm not even carrying him, and I have my hands free. So they're definitely an option that can work for older kids too, and I think that's why a lot of people swear by them, is they're great when they're little, but it's also, with a toddler, it took 2 seconds to get him in and 2 seconds to get him back out, whereas when I tried a soft structured carrier with my toddler, he threw a fit, because it was like, okay, I got to lean over and I got to tighten this buckle and I got to put this strap, and now he's on my back, and he's so I think that the main benefit of ring slings is that they're super, super versatile and also inexpensive. So I mean, you can get one made out of linen new for like under $50, used sometimes for even cheaper. You can get them made out of a woven wrap, which will give you a little more support for a heavier baby, but again, they're really not, they're very affordable. They're not, they're not going to be a $300 or $400 piece of fabric like some of those fancier wraps could be. So they're versatile, they're affordable. They're good for switching between 2 people. So my husband's a lot taller than I am, but he can use the same size ring sling. He just has less of a tail, like she mentioned, a fabric at the end. So it's a really good tool for simple, affordable, versatile baby wearing.
Oh, awesome. How about the May ties? I mean, not to be confused with Mai Tais, but the May Tais. And I think this is...
Mai Tai while you drink Mai Tai.
and this is, I think it gets the name because it's originally Chinese. And, we think of some of those ornate tapestries that show, women, and they've got the babies on their backs, right? And it's that, I think I've seen some that are very ornate ones, and
I don't know the exact history of them. This is one I've never worn, but I kind of see it as the halfway point for people who like soft structured carriers and are kind of wanting to wrap a little bit more, because it usually has a panel, and then it has different what would you call
they're like
ties.
Ties.
Yeah,
I'm like,
ties.
what would you call that fabric? It has different like pieces of fabric that you wrap around and tie. It's adjustable in that, like she said, her kids grew out their soft structured carrier, but this, it fits a little bit more. It has a little more, and it's versatile, and again, it doesn't have all the buckles and all of the other stuff, so you can fold it up pretty easily and throw it. I think that's a big factor for a lot of people.
You could get a better fit, because with buckles, there's an adjustment, and you have to kind of find the right buckle slot and pull it to the right thing.
I know.
And with that one, every time you wrap it, you can get a different fit depending on who's wearing it. So I know that's a benefit of them. I don't have the patience for that much tying, so it's not, it's definitely something, again, with a learning curve, and that you have to be pretty good with wrapping and tying like a woven
Yeah,
wrap.
it does take some practice.
So it's pretty much, it's like a square of, solid fabric. And then it's got the ties on the top that go around the shoulders. And then it's got the ties around the waist.
Yeah.
And kind of, you bring it, around the waist and then back again. And so I think with the May ties, you can either do a front carry or a back carry, right? So
I think you can also do a side carry, a hip carry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you can tie them on that way. So, and that's, they're a little more versatile than some of the soft structured carriers. But one of the soft structure carriers I have comes in 3 different sizes for the mom and 3 different sizes for the child, where this has a little more time. And I don't think you have to wear an insert with a May tie, but I'm not entirely certain.
For the really small,
so you can wear,
for newborns.
you can start wearing it when they're really small.
Much smaller.
It would be a good, if you don't want to buy each of you your own 2 carriers, if you're just looking to have 2, a May tie would be a good option because you wouldn't have to adjust it for you and your husband. You can both wear the same one just by tying it differently, so that would be a benefit. It also, because there's no buckles, rolls up really small, so fit easily under your stroller, so that'd be another benefit of that.
And and I have to say, the as far as fashion is concerned, I think with like wraps and ring slings and May tie, I've seen a lot of really cool fabrics, and so you can be very
Possibilities
creative.
are endless. They're endless.
I had grand plans of only wearing wovens, and I saw these beautiful fabrics, and then in real life I usually had one up and the other one had the other end of fabric shaking it, like raining at me, and I'm a sweaty mess just trying to get the other one up.
There's a lot of sweating involved in baby wearing.
Baby wearing, it's hard to go to the gym as a twin mom. I'm usually carrying an extra 40 pounds on me when I'm walking. It's like my only working out. As far as wraps and ring slings, there's also water versions. So you can, as twin moms,
to go into a pool.
I'm always scared at the pool. Like I said, I'm the worry warrior. I'm like, what if this happens? And what if this happens?
Me
and
too.
I just go through all those scenarios because I kind of just like to plan for the worst so we can go and have a great day. So it's when something does happen, I'm like, I'm good. We're doing this. But so you can a ring sling in the water, have one on you, and then kind of holding the other one and help and just give you that more options. But I have a water wrap. So I wrap and wear one on the front.
So you can take both of them in the water at the same time with one adult.
I can. I usually don't, but some of the adults I go with, like the grandparents, they're great, but they're not as quick. It's it's been a while. They don't realize how quickly my 2 can get into trouble, so they'll blink for a second. So I still like to have that like backup ability to help and step in, or if one's upset with who they're with. But yeah, I could theoretically.
One benefit to the water slings is showering.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
So if you have, I was lucky enough to have 2 boys that when they did feel like sleeping, they slept at the same time. But not everybody is that lucky. In fact, I've heard from tons and tons of twin moms that one napped, the other one was awake, and vice versa. And that can happen, and some of them even preferred it because at least that way they were only handling one baby at a time. But if you have one sleeping and one awake and you have a water wrap, you could take a shower with your baby. And then you don't have to worry about dropping a baby or a toddler running around the floor. So that's definitely one benefit. And in retrospect, I wish I had one just for that because there were so many times when I was like, if only I could just shower so that I could leave my house. But what do I do with this kid, So that's a definite benefit.
What a great idea. Okay, now the last type of carrier that we've got it's a soft structured carrier.
And this one's the most popular.
Yeah.
So probably everybody's seen or heard of a soft structured carrier. It's the kind that's like a backpack for your baby almost. It's got a buckle around the waist. It's got adjustable straps. It has a buckle across the back. It's the ones you see in movies and commercials, and everybody puts one on their registry.
Right. I know we started out using a wrap, and and when they were newborns, I think that was really great. But what I found is, I think you'd mentioned a lot of, if you're doing breastfeeding, and then if you're doing one, and then you're kind of swapping off, it's a little bit more involved to unwrap them and take them out. But with the soft structured carriers, it's so nice to be able to just clip in, clip out.
Or especially when I'm wearing both, I really like the soft structured carrier because a lot of times I just have them clipped around my waist and hanging down. We went to the wild animal park and it was up, down, And I did have my stroller, but I almost wish I hadn't brought it, other than the fact that it was holding all of our other stuff, because they wanted nothing to do with it. And it was just, we were there with older kids too, so they were more mobile, so mine wanted to be. So in different scenarios, a whole field trip would come through, and I couldn't exactly let my little toddlers wander through that. So I already had it, and all I had to do is quickly snap. They're up and back down. So it's really nice.
And yeah, we only used soft structured carriers mostly. I would say from about 3 months to probably 16 months when they outgrew the particular one that we had. Lifesavers. I mean, we had one that was adjusted to my husband and one that was adjusted to me. But we always had them. I mean, we never left the house without them, because you just never knew when somebody was going to want to be carried and how much easier. I learned to nurse really quickly in a soft structured carrier. It's fairly easy. It takes 1 or 2 times to get the hang of it. And it's trial by fire. I mean, it was like we were at the street fair and it was burning hot. And there was nowhere to sit down. There was beer gardens, but you can't bring an infant into a beer garden. And I was like, are you sure? Like, he's not going to drink anything. He's right. But there was nowhere to sit. And
gosh.
And I'm not going to nurse my baby in a porta potty. That wasn't happening. So it was like, okay, well, let's see if we can make this work. And once I figured out that it could work, a whole window of possibilities.
And I think that the soft structured carriers, I have one, it has the little head support cover, which is great for provides head support.
When they fall asleep, you can
fall
just
asleep,
pull
and then
the
keeps
hood
the
right
sun
up
off
over
of them, and then
Privacy.
it's a little extra privacy if you are nursing as well. I think that's a really great feature.
No.
They're also, men are much more open to the soft structured carriers. If you're a twin mom and you don't want to wear both of them, usually men, it looks like a backpack. It looks familiar. It's not in a girly floral print.
Yes.
So I think it's more accessible to them. I mean, I do know men who wrap and they love it and it's great. My husband was a little hesitant even with the soft structured carrier, and he'd be like, oh, okay, and he'd put it on. But after about like 5 times, he goes, he asks for his specifically. His has a Pac-Man print on it.
And they're great resale value. So, like I mentioned, my boys outgrew the particular one that we had, and I just figured, okay, we're done baby wearing. But I didn't even stop to think about reselling them. I mean, I wish I had, because you can usually sell a soft structured carrier for, depending on the brand, at least half of what you paid for it, sometimes almost all of what you paid for it.
Sometimes more.
And sometimes more if the print got discontinued. So,
slowly
when your baby outgrows it and you want to continue it, there are tons of companies that make larger sizes. They're not the one that's going to be on the shelves at your store, but I mean, we all do online shopping as twin moms. It's not that hard. So I actually resold the 2 smaller ones that we had in order to buy like a bigger one.
That's great.
So that's something that, carriers have an initial expense, especially some of the soft structured ones. I know a lot of women will balk at $160 each for a carrier, but you've got to figure, I mean, we got a good year of use out of them, and then I resold them for almost what I paid for them.
Freedom of life.
And then, so in any type of baby wearing, no matter which kind of carrier you decide is right for you, you do want to make sure that you're following safe baby wearing rules. I know we mentioned a couple times small babies, moms being kind of paranoid, you worry when you can't see your baby. So the baby wearing guidelines, there's current guidelines for safety, and they're always changing and always evolving, so a good reason to stay in touch with your leader. But there's just a quick kind of cutesy acronym for how to keep your baby safe, and it's called TICS. So each letter stands for something. So the T stands for tight. You want to make sure that the carrier is tight, not cutting off your circulation, but it needs to feel close to you. The buckles are secured. It's tightened around your waist. It's it's a close fitting thing. It's not going to be dangling off the side. I is for in view. So you always should be able to have the baby in your view. I know back carry, you can't always see a baby completely, but if a baby's on your back, they should be high enough up that you can turn and kind of see them over your shoulder. So basically, you need to always be able to see your baby somehow. C stands for close enough to kiss. And this one, I think, is the one that I see most often when I'm out and about, people who aren't aware of this rule, where when your baby's on your front, you should be able to just lean your head down and kiss the top of your baby's head. If your baby's too low for you to kiss, then they're too low to be safely worn. So your baby shouldn't be hanging around your belly button or way below. Their head needs to be right up and close to you. K is for keep chin off chest, and that's going to deal with those like suffocation airway issues that we dealt with. Small infants especially, they need to be positioned a certain way to keep their airways safe, just like we do in car seats. They do the car seat test, just like we do in strollers. So your baby's chin should never be tucked onto its chest. It always needs to be that space between it. So you need to really constantly be checking on your baby, especially a newborn, especially a preemie, to make sure that their airway is open, so that they're not kind of getting trapped under all that fabric. And then the last one is S, their back needs to be supported. I talked about that a little bit with the panel on the size of the babies. As they get taller, make sure that that panel or fabric or whatever's holding the baby's back is supporting their back as well, so that they're close in there, they're fully supported. You don't have a baby that's only got like a little piece of fabric on their bottom, because we want to make sure that the baby is always safe inside the wearing. And the ideal situation is once your baby's in there, you should be able to do whatever, move your hands, wander around freely. But if you have a baby in incorrectly, you're going to risk a baby falling out. So just make sure that you're aware of the safe baby wearing rules. That's just a quick acronym. You'll definitely want to read the instructions for your manufacturer, talk to some other people. The first couple of times, have somebody check it out and make sure that you look safe and look good, and groups are good for that too. You
That's
can post
a great
picture.
point.
Yeah.
Get help, and maybe attend a local group so that so you've got local experts that can give you that extra tips.
There's hundreds all over the nation.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for everyone for joining us today. And for more information about baby wearing twins, or for more information about any of our speakers or panelists, visit our episode page on our website. And this conversation continues for members of our Twin Talks Club. And after the show, our panelists are going to talk about getting dads motivated to do baby wearing. So you can join the Twin Talks Club. So after the show, our panelists are going to talk about how we can motivate dads to do baby wearing. And for more information about the Twin Talks Club, visit our website, twintalks.com. Well, today we're going to have a special segment. It's called Special Twin Moments. And we've got one of our panelists here to share. Brenda.
Well, my twins, when they were in elementary school, fairly young, like maybe second grade or so, for Thanksgiving project, they had to make small cards that said what they were thankful for and why. And one of my twins wrote, "I am thankful for my twin brother Joshua because he is the only twin that matches me."
The only twin, of course.
The only one.
In his world, there's, everybody has a twin, right?
Sure.
That wraps up our show for today, and we appreciate you listening to Twin Talks. Don't forget to check out our sister show, Preggy Pals, for expecting parents, and our show, The Boob Group, for moms who breastfeed their babies, and Parent Savers, your parenting resource on the go. Next week, we'll talk about preparing your twin nursery. This is Twin Talks, Parenting Times 2.
This has been a New Mommy Media production. The information and material contained in this episode are presented for educational purposes only. Statements and opinions expressed in this episode are not necessarily those of New Mommy Media and should not be considered facts. While such information and materials are believed to be accurate, it is not intended to replace or substitute for professional medical advice or care, and should not be used for diagnosing or treating healthcare problem or disease or prescribing any medication. If you have questions or concerns regarding your physical or mental health or the health of your baby, please seek assistance from a qualified healthcare provider.
New Mommy Media is expanding our lineup of shows for new and expecting parents. If you have an idea for a new series, or if you're a business or organization interested in joining our network of shows through a co-branded podcast, visit newmommymedia.com. Hey mamas, don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there.